Welcome, everybody. Let's just invite the chime to sing, and then we'll begin our practice. As you settle into your practice, particularly if you're at home, remember to call in your other friends, other sentient being friends. They might have fur on them, they might be feathery or scaly or swimming around in some water. There might even be some plants nearby that have a consciousness that you can invite them into the practice as a way of reimagining our recovery, a place that is peaceful, a place that is free from aggression and delusion and confusion. And may this spread and wrap around your entire environment, welcoming all living beings. Friends, this is Recovery Dharma. My name is Julia. I'm one of the facilitators in the Spokane Sangha. And it is such a joy to be here with you today. I'd like to set the intention for our practice with a sentiment of loving kindness, metta. These are these little cards that I paint. Or if people send me little paintings in a card, I chop it up and then I write messages on the back, sentiments of metta. This one reads, may you smile at acts of kindness. May you smile at acts of kindness. Let's wrap that sentiment around this entire practice today. Because an act of kindness that you are all engaging is showing up to this practice. And you may have the perception that you're here today because you need a meeting. Maybe you're here today because you're court ordered. Maybe you're here today because it's part of your intensive outpatient treatment program. Maybe you're here today because 5 minutes ago, you were really working through a craving, and being here is sparing you a recurrence of symptoms. All of that is true. And it is also true that your presence here adds to the collective consciousness of this community. Your presence here adds beauty to this community. It adds wise hope, presence, wisdom, intention, joy. Your presence here is deeply inspiring, and it is a profound act of courage and kindness to show up. So thank you. And I'm smiling with my eyes closed. Take a deep breath. And smile at the reflection and the reality that bringing yourself, your presence exactly as you are, to a community of like-minded people journeying to recover their truest self is an act of pure kindness. Breathe that in. And maybe if you're doubting at all, or if you feel insecure about this language, maybe bring your hand to your heart as you breathe, and just that gentle additional touch and warmth and presence, may it be a reminder, my presence here is an act of kindness. Press that into the heart space. Friends, for the month of December, we have been exploring a theme in this Sangha, looking at duality, light and dark, right and wrong, black, white, good, bad. So many pairs of opposites that define our reality. And we have a propensity in the Western mind to keep everything compartmentalized in this either or thinking. Eastern traditions do not have that mind. They, as a sort of an operational mode, instead they have a more non-dualistic mode that includes the black and white and the gray, the either or and the both and. It is true that things are right or wrong, and there's a lot in between. That's why I have a phrase, I have a mantra that if you practice with me for more than a minute, you'll hear, which is, that's true and not the whole truth. Or, that's true, what else is true? My motivation for bringing that into awareness is twofold. One is to retrain the mind that is so habituated to dualistic thinking. It's my way or the highway. I'm right, you're wrong. And to be able to see the world in a much more broad and expansive way, which frankly is infinitely more interesting. It's more textured and dimensional. It's really more beautiful, even though it can have its challenges. The other reason why I practice this particular mantra, that's true, what else is true, is because I really wanted to work with my own highly immature ego that is incredibly easily threatened and gets defensive, righteous, arrogant. And so I wanted to be able to treat that immature ego not in the way of getting rid of it. That only heightens and amplifies the immaturity living within me, the adolescent that is still a part of me. I can't get rid of her. I simply have to treat that adolescent me, that elementary school-aged me, with the sage in me, the wise one in me, the one that is devoted to maturing. And so a way for me to get more comfortable around criticism or feeling threatened or when I'm confronted by something that I don't want to look at or I feel insecure about, I can stand before that and say, that's true and not the whole truth. And this is a practice. It's not easy to do. And let me give you a hint about something. When people have shared with me feedback, criticism, and it hurts and it's painful and I don't want to look at it and I really want to avoid it or deflect it or find excuses for it, that's when I know it's true. When I ruminate about it, when I perseverate, when it takes up a whole lot of space in my emotional mind, I know it's true. And it's never the whole truth. Someone said to me one time, Julia, you are so opinionated. Ow. Ow. Remember, friends, when people give criticism or they confront you, they're not always skillful. But the message might still be true. So it's important to pay less attention to the messenger and more attention to the message, if it's true. And in that case, in that instance, it's true. The motivation behind that message from this particular individual was to be accusatory and deflating, diminishing, and dismissive. Julia, you are so opinionated. Wow. That's true, and not the whole truth. My immature ego, when it hears something like that, is full of reaction. Oh, no, I'm not. I'm so open, blah, blah, blah. Immediately finding excuses, immediately finding the light to that sort of darkness, that dark mark. And the whole practice of light and dark is to recognize I have some dark spots to me. It's what makes me a whole human being. And frankly, it's what makes me a really interesting human being, if I say so myself here. I'm highly opinionated. I'm righteous. I'm even arrogant at times. I'm also humble and modest. I'm also open and curious. And so are all of us. The practice of exploring duality is a practice of maturing the ego, not getting rid of it, not even lessening it. It's about maturing it so you can come forward and say to someone, you know, you're right. I am opinionated. Thank you for noticing. It's true and not the whole truth. On the journey of recovery, very specifically, one of the things that we've all had to stand before is unskillfulness regarding substances or particular behaviors and engagements. And we've had people in our lives hold up mirrors, sometimes not particularly skillfully. They've been shoved in our face. Comments have been slammed down our throats. We've been beaten over the head with awareness. The motivation is complex because I believe people really do care. But I also believe people are unpracticed. And therefore, there's a lot of projection of fear and anger, righteousness, dualism. And so we have all been confronted with things like, you drink too much, you smoke too much, you use social media too much, something too much. I don't like the way you fill in the blank. I think you have a problem with blah, blah, blah. And part of this disorder is the way we are not able to sit with that, the way we avoid it, the way we interpret it as guilt and shame, the way we continue to use as a means of not feeling, not confronting, not looking, not being curious. We're trying to maintain some kind of illusion of someone we are not. That might be true, and it's not the whole truth. The way we misuse, the way we are unskillful in our actions is complex and deeply personal. So the way we stand before ourselves and examine unskillfulness, to understand and really sit with a degree of ease with negative habit energy, we have to be willing, we have to practice holding the negativity, holding the darkness. This is a part of me. It is not the whole of me. This is true and not the whole truth. Over and over again. That's the practice. And by the way, friends, this also is a practice in reverse. It ought to be applied with praise. Julia, you are the best thing since sliced bread. You know, that's true, and not the whole truth. I can be like stale bread and moldy bread and too thick crust bread. That's true too. What is true for you and not the whole truth? That's the practice. And to explore it is an act of kindness. And may that action come with a smile. So let's come back and we'll end our practice with a dedication of merit. The journey of recovery in its most sincere form is a journey of rediscovering those qualities and those aspects of the human experience that are probably the most challenging. Grief, loss, unforgivability, delusion, corruption, hatred, fear. It is so humbling to realize the lengths that people will go to avoid experiencing any of that darkness, even to the point of not acknowledging its existence, trying to pretend it's not even there. And like Luma said, the more we engage in dualistic thinking, it's either light or it's all dark, the less we learn, the less we know, the less real we become. So it is a practice. And one of the things that we are doing in the Spokane Sangha is we are reimagining the practice in its most gentle form, creating a space where we can land tenderly, compassionately, kindly, lovingly. May you take that experience with you today in warmth and in blessing. May you bring the merit of it into the world, into your friends, your family, your community, while you're driving your car, while you're standing in line, while you're at the teller at the bank, while you're waiting for your coffee. In all the ways that we engage humanity, bring your practice. The world is desperate for your kindness. We'll see you tomorrow, 11:30, online. Namaste.